Coronation Street star Beth Nixon has opened up about the layered nature of her role as Megan Walsh and what she feels could ultimately bring the character crashing down. Megan arrived on screen late last year as Will Driscoll's athletics coach. To Will's relatives, she presents herself as a warm and supportive mentor dedicated to pushing her pupils to achieve their best. However, in Will's eyes, Megan is far more than a coach. She is his secret partner, now pregnant with his child. The teenager remains unaware that he is being groomed and exploited, instead relishing the secrecy of being involved with an older woman behind everyone's backs. Everything shifted for Megan recently when it became obvious that Sam Blakeman, Jude Riordan, had started questioning her closeness with Will. She wasted no time confronting Sam, attempting to intimidate him into silence by warning that no one would believe him if he raised concerns. This confrontation hinted that her carefully constructed facade may be starting to crack. Although Megan herself refuses to acknowledge that possibility, Beth explained that from Megan's perspective, she genuinely doesn't believe she is acting wrongly. "When I portray her, I have to commit to her truth completely," Beth shared. In scenes with Daniel, the emotion in her eyes and voice feels authentic to her. She continued by admitting that stepping into Megan's mindset can be unsettling, especially given Lucas's age. Fortunately, she noted they share strong mutual trust, and the show ensures strict boundaries during intimate scenes, making the process more manageable. Still, Beth said she must convince herself that Megan feels justified in her behavior, even if it appears disturbing. The character believes she's in the right. It's evident the actress has carefully analyzed Megan's psychology. Beth suggested that Megan's belief in her own superiority may eventually undo her. Her intelligence works against her, as does her moral arrogance, she said. She sees herself as untouchable and assumes she can outsmart everyone. "I imagine she'd battle to the very end, spinning lie after lie." While the thought of imprisonment frightens Megan, Beth speculated she might only consider fleeing as a last resort. Ultimately, it would be her overconfidence that seals her fate, since she truly thinks she can control and deceive those around her. Although Megan currently refuses to see fault in her actions, Beth noted that the character is not entirely devoid of emotion. She prioritizes her own wants above all else. "She's deeply self-absorbed," Beth explained. She does experience flashes of sadness or compassion, but she quickly suppresses them because guilt would obstruct her ambitions. Her desires always take precedence. In the latest twist, Megan persisted in pressuring Sam to stay quiet. Determined to secure proof of her misconduct, Sam secretly placed a recording device inside the apartment she shares with Leanne Battersby, hoping to capture incriminating material. Once he retrieved his phone from his father, he reviewed the footage only to discover a carefully orchestrated exchange between Megan and Will where she encouraged him to move on from what she described as a harmless crush. Megan had clearly anticipated Sam's scheme. When he returned to collect the hidden camera, he was shocked to find it gone. Megan had already confiscated it. Delighted to sabotage his efforts, she mocked him cruelly and accused him of being a pervert for spying on her and Leanne. Sam tried to flip the accusation back onto her, calling her the real offender. But Megan stood firm, threatening that he could end up registered as a sex offender at just 14 for secretly filming women. Terrified by her manipulative threats, Sam withdrew. Sitting alone in Victoria Garden, he struggled to process her alarming claims and worried about what it could mean for his future. A worried Nick Tilsley approached, hoping to comfort his distressed son. But Sam dismissed him as clueless, convinced that no one was capable of helping him. Coronation Street favorite Jane Hazelgrove has teased the mounting fear surrounding Bernie as a chaotic storyline takes a dark turn. Bernie Winter made a reckless choice while intoxicated, and now the consequences have arrived at her door, refusing to back off. As Mal Roar's crush mutates into something far more threatening, Jane has revealed how this alarming twist impacts Bernie's state of mind. What should have been nothing more than a carefree evening was meant to distract Bernie from her lingering sorrow. Instead, that alcohol-fueled girl's night spiraled into trouble when she encountered Mal, who clearly believed he had a shot with her. Though heavily drunk, Bernie refused to cheat on her husband, Dev Allahan. Even so, she ended up partying recklessly with Mal, waking the next day, nursing both a pounding headache and overwhelming remorse. Unfortunately, the fallout didn't vanish once the hangover subsided. The outspoken co-owner of Roy's Cafe soon realized Mal wasn't going anywhere, especially as he conveniently secured electrical work at the flat above Roy Creeper's place, giving him an excuse to linger nearby. Bernie feels unable to confess to Dev, fearing the damage the truth could cause to her marriage. Worse still, if she pushes Mal away too forcefully, he could reveal everything himself. Yet, secrets like this rarely stay buried forever. In upcoming scenes, Mal escalates matters dramatically by trapping Bernie inside Roy's roles and professing his undying devotion. Jane explained that Bernie is utterly shaken. She's genuinely scared, Jane said, pointing out that Bernie has a history of dealing with aggressive men. This situation feels extremely dangerous. She thought she could lower her guard for a moment, but that's backfired horribly. Normally, she protects herself with a tough exterior, but this time she's exposed and he's unstable. The threat intensifies when Bernie discovers her head has been cut out of her wedding photograph, a chilling sign that someone has invaded her home. Jane describes it as clear stalking behavior, adding that Mal's obsession has tipped into frightening territory. When Bernie rejects him outright, Mal doesn't handle it calmly. So, when she spots the vandalized wedding picture reminiscent of a psychological thriller, it's obvious who's responsible. Now, Bernie faces a terrible choice. Confess everything to Dev before Mal does and risk destroying her marriage, or stay silent and hope the situation resolves itself. Jane admitted that the temptation to come clean is partly driven by fear of what Mal might do next. She believes Bernie is starting to realize that Mal is far more dangerous than she first assumed, driven by an unhealthy fixation that goes beyond reason. Still, Bernie has always been adept at burying uncomfortable truths. Jane explained that her character tends to compartmentalize problems, locking them away mentally and pretending they won't resurface. Half-truths feel safer to her as she convinces herself she can manage the fallout even though reality eventually forces everything into the open. This time, however, she may need genuine support. Rumors soon spread across Weatherfield that Mal is obsessively pursuing Bernie. When confronted about it, he reacts with fury, prompting Roy to eject him from the cafe. At her breaking point, Bernie warns Mal bluntly that she'll kill him if he doesn't leave her alone. He dismisses her threat, claiming he isn't going anywhere. Before long, at the Weatherfield police station, Lisa Swain informs Kit Green that a man has been discovered unconscious in the street with a severe head wound. As Kit reviews the report, he's stunned to learn the injured man is Mal, now hospitalized in critical condition. Did Bernie lash out? Jane remains tight-lipped, but admits things don't look good for her character. Having been overheard making violent threats, Bernie inevitably becomes a prime suspect. Telling Dev part of the truth hasn't eased matters. If anything, it has intensified the chaos. Jane reflects that Bernie recognizes her mistakes, acknowledging that complete honesty from the outset might have prevented the situation from spiraling so badly. Since joining the soap in 2019, Bernie has become a beloved fixture at Roy's Rolls, known for her blunt honesty and sharp humor. Jane says she relishes portraying such a resilient working-class woman, someone resourceful enough to stretch every penny and tough enough to survive whatever life throws at her. Bernie may cling to her colorful wardrobe and battered handbag, but beneath it all, she's a fighter. Let's just hope she's not swapping that tie-dye for a prison uniform anytime soon. Coronation Street airs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is also available to stream on ITVX and YouTube.